welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Fenty Beauty and If It Fell Off. Fenty Beauty is one of the biggest makeup brands out right now, known by a celebrity and just in general. And today we're going to deep dive into the hype that was around Fenty Beauty and if it's still around and if it's still that brand. Now, of course, I need to be moderate of people who are just joining in and they may not know anything about beauty. Fenty Beauty is a makeup brand that is owned by Rihanna, which is a national popular superstar. She's a musician, she's an entrepreneur, philanthropist, all that, okay? She created Fenty Beauty. I want to say Fenty Beauty released in September of 2017, September 8th specifically, which is so hard to believe that it was that long ago. Fenty Beauty sometimes feels like it just got here, but no, they've been holding their own since 2017. I don't think you guys understand, as someone who's working in the beauty industry, who loves makeup, who's always been a makeup enthusiast, I don't think I've seen the impact of a makeup brand like how Fenty Beauty was in a very long, honestly at all, but I'm gonna just say in a very long time. Fenty Beauty, when they were first announced, you guys, people were jaw-dropping, foaming at the mouth, rushing to get to the store to get their hands on some Fenty Beauty, okay? Let's start with the foundation. The Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. Now, when this first launched, I believe this was one of the first products that Fenty Beauty launched, you could not get your shade if you were my skin tone or darker. The black girls showed up and showed out, okay? One thing with Fenty Beauty, when they launched, they were so big on inclusivity and making sure everyone had a shade and just making sure everyone was included, that black girls really felt the need to support Rihanna. For once and forever, black girls were included in the makeup industry. Before Fenty Beauty, people were not looking at people my complexion and deeper like that. They weren't making products for us. We weren't really included in billboards, advertisement, marketing. We weren't included. We were an afterthought. But Fenty Beauty really put that on the map. And the fact that they launched 40 shades of this foundation, now it's 50. But at the initial launch, they launched 40 shades. This was something that was never seen before. And everybody was just shook. I remember seeing so many makeup reviews by so many influencers and makeup artists. And the formula goes crazy. It's the fact that Fenty Beauty's marketing literally was targeted for everyone. And it was just so iconic because it was something that we never seen before. But it truly meant that everybody was going to be included and thought of when it comes to this makeup line. And the fact that Rihanna was behind it made it even bigger because Rihanna is one of the biggest stars. She's part of the big three: Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, and Beyonce. She's part of the big three. The shade range was just truly iconic. Like, the shades literally went down to some of the deepest complexions that I've never even seen before when it comes to makeup. And it was just so many shades. It was a little overwhelming at first to find your perfect match, especially because the formula had like a little issues with the dry down. It did oxidate a little bit in my opinion, but it was definitely a huge success. Not only was this one of the most successful makeup brands by a celebrity, this specific brand in its launch set the standard for other makeup brands to come. No other makeup brand was showing love to all these different skin tones and shades and being inclusive. After Fenty launched 40 shades, next thing you know, all these other brands were launching 40 shades. And don't get me wrong, there were brands before Fenty that had that classic makeup artist feel. So they were gonna have multiple shades like NARS, Makeup Forever, not even Makeup Forever. I wanna say NARS, MAC, definitely those two, maybe Makeup Forever, but I'm not sure. But those are like household names, like Bobbi Brown, like brands that were working like on the runway shows and stuff. They had to have those shades. But this was a brand that was dedicated to everyone. It wasn't backed up by makeup artists. It was dedicated to everyone. And ever since that, child, nothing has ever been the same. But I guess the question I'm asking with this video is, ever since that launch in 2017, has the hype been the same? Has everything with Fenty Beauty gone well with every single launch? Is the hype still there? I don't think so. I think ever since other celebrity brands have hopped on the makeup train, there's been a lot of flops. Like, for example, Alicia Keys, Halsey, I can never say her name correctly, Gwen Stefani. It's been a lot of people that tried to hop on the beauty makeup train, and I'm not gonna say they failed completely, but it never had the same hype and, you know, momentum as Fenty Beauty until Rare Beauty came along, y'all. Rare Beauty came in. Now, I personally don't think Rare Beauty and Fenty Beauty can be compared because they're two completely different lines, two completely different people behind the scenes, and two different backstories. You know what I'm saying? They're both inclusive, but they have two different types of makeup styles, and it's just completely different. But it is the fact that it is a celebrity brand that came and literally Another one is House Labs by Lady Gaga. House Labs came out and they ended up taking their products out and rebranding, and they came back really, really strong. I think that a lot of celebrity brands now, the big ones at least, kind of took a little bit of shine from Fenty Beauty just because they were celebrity owned. They saw the blueprint that Fenty Beauty laid out and they executed it very well, as well as putting their own personal twist on it. When it comes to Fenty Beauty's launches, I feel like a lot of them had a lot of good momentum and hype behind them, but mainly the complexion products. So like their skin tint, their hydrating foundation, their concealer, their powder, those had a lot of hype behind them, even their cream blush. But when it comes to their eyeshadow formula, I feel like they really kind of like fell in that aspect. A lot of people did not have a lot of good things to say about their eyeshadow products. The only palette that I have is the Sunstalker palette, and I really like it because it's great for neutrals. But the other ones, like specifically their holiday collection, not really the best. A lot of their eye products, honestly, in my opinion, just aren't something that I would really spend the money for, just because the formula isn't that great and it's not really that exciting, to be completely transparent. Fenty Beauty is starting to become a brand where people basically include the inclusivity with Fenty Beauty in their shade range, and that's honestly one of the only things that they can really say. There's not really like a go-to fan favorite product that a lot of people reach for when it comes to Fenty Beauty. You know, a lot of people have favorites, but when you think of Fenty Beauty, you don't think of an immediate product like you do at Rare Beauty and House Labs. That could be my opinion, but if not, let me know down below what you guys think. I would love to know your thoughts on that. To wrap up this video, I do want to reassure Fenty Beauty's stance in the beauty community. It is very strong. This video is not bashing Fenty Beauty at all in any whatsoever. I'm just opening up the conversation to ask those about the hype of Fenty Beauty and how they still feel about it. I feel like when Fenty Beauty just first came along, everybody and their mama had a gloss bomb, or everybody and their mama had the foundation, and now it's just slowly kind of like not really being like that versus these other celebrity brands that have come out. So I would love to know y'all's thoughts. Personally, for me, when I go to Sephora, I have some go-to kiosks, or you know, whatever that I go to in Sephora, and Fenty Beauty is always on that list. If not, maybe number one. I always go over to the Fenty Beauty kiosk to see what kind of stuff that they have. We love that it's now affordable and accessible at Ulta. Basically anybody can get their hands on Fenty Beauty at this point. I also love that Fenty Beauty is not a super expensive brand, but at the same time it is prestige, so you're getting that high quality luxe experience without breaking your pocket. And Fenty Beauty will forever just be iconic just for setting the standard. Even if Fenty Beauty does kind of like fall off or lose their hype, Fenty Beauty will always be one of those brands that set the standard and changed the makeup history, just because brands were not as inclusive until they came along. Thank you guys so much for this discussion. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Again, let me know. No rude comments. Watch your mouth. Hold on. And I cannot wait to see you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. And yeah, bye.